Microsoft published the new service, Microsoft 365 Archive, that will allow you to archive some of the data in Microsoft 365. At the same time, there is really good chance that you imagine how this service will work a little different than the current functionality. I prepared this video after a few meetings with the customers where we were discussing about possible scenarios to use Microsoft 365 Archive, and I see that in general expectations about functionality of this service are a little bigger than the current functionality. Personally, I was also stuck with a little different imagination how this will work. So in this video, I will tell you why at all people thinking about archiving service in Microsoft 365, how to use Archive today, and what is possible roadmap for the future. I also want to invite you to sign up for the free course that will prepare you to execution of the generative AI and Copilot in your organization. You will find the link in the banner and in the description of the video. And as always, if you like this video, please leave the thumbs up. If you want to get the notifications about the new videos, please subscribe. And if you have any additional questions, use the comment section. So you can ask why people at all thinking about archiving service for Microsoft 365. And this is a fair question, but at the same time there is really good answer to address that kind of challenge. You need to remember that OneDrive have almost unlimited space for you. You can upload at least 1 terabyte of the data. You can request the extension of that storage for 5 terabytes and later on to 25 terabytes of the data. I expect this is very rare situation, but you can almost assume that OneDrive storage is almost unlimited. At the same time, if we're talking about SharePoint and Teams, there is really strict rule how much data you will have available for your Microsoft 365. And I'm mentioning Teams here because you need to remember that all files that are uploaded to Team in Microsoft Teams landing on the SharePoint site that is created behind it. It means that if you're uploading the data to Microsoft Teams, you're also using SharePoint storage. And in general, your organization will always receive 1 terabyte of the data for whole organization and additional 10 gigabytes of the storage per each licensed user. It means that if you will buy 300 subscriptions for your business users for Microsoft 365, you will receive almost 4 terabytes of the data. At the same time, if you will buy licenses for the 10,000s of the users, you will get the storage with the size of almost 101 terabytes of the data. You can ask, okay, but is there any problem around it? And to be fair, the organizations that using the SharePoint Online storage heavily can get to the point that they will use the whole available storage included based on the licenses they own. And in such a case, if you will get to 100%, you will not be able to upload any additional data. The only alternative is to remove the data, so to clean up your SharePoint sites, or to buy additional storage for your Office 365 applications, which is quite expensive. And this is something that is really present on the market. A lot of organizations facing such a cases, especially if they migrating any kind of the data from on-premise environments. And if you want to use tools like Copilot in Microsoft 365, you want to have your data in cloud, now in the shared drives available on-premise. And additional storage for Office 365 costs 25 cents per gigabyte per month. And we are talking about environments that using terabytes of the data, so you can imagine getting to the limit of your storage of Microsoft 365 could really increase total cost for your organization. So again, the only option you had till now is to remove the data or to buy additional storage. And there were one more scenario that you can use. You can migrate the data from SharePoint Online to some kind of hot or cold storage in Microsoft Azure and host that data there. Of course, in such a case, this is additional storage costs, this is additional migration costs, and you're losing a lot of elements connected with SharePoint. Metadata, permissions, access management, and security policies. So to be fair, that was the last possible scenario that organizations decide to use. And now we're getting to the Microsoft 365 Archive service that is provided by Microsoft. Today you need to be aware that it allows you to archive the whole SharePoint site to something that could be almost called cold storage. You will not be able to access that data. Your users will not be able to access or find this data. You will need to request restore of that data, and you will also need to pay to get that data restored. At the same time, you will get the access to the possibility to contain all metadata, all security setup, policies, labeling, and also access rights. Moreover, this storage is much cheaper than additional storage from Microsoft 365 add-on license. Cost of the data stored in the archive is 5 cents per gigabyte, which is 5 times cheaper than additional storage which could be bought for your Microsoft 365 environment. Moreover, you can archive the data ahead and you will just pay for it when you will reach to the limit, so this is really cool functionality. But because the data is not something that your users will be able to access from the user interface, you should treat that almost as a cold storage, which means that it will be quite difficult to access that data. In the future, there will be the possibility to search for that data and let's say recognize it, but at the same time today that kind of functionality is not present. So if you plan to migrate your data from your Office 365 environment to some kind of cold storage in Microsoft Azure, Microsoft 365 Archive is really good alternative for that. It's very simple, it's quite cheap, and probably in the future will have much better functionality. So you can see Microsoft 365 Archive maybe will not address every business need that you have around archiving of the Microsoft 365 data in SharePoint Online, but at the same time, if you have data that is not used by anyone, maybe will be sunset in some period of time, Microsoft 365 Archive is perfect solution to do that. Remember, users will not have access to that data, and let's say searching or finding that information will be also limited and is not present today. Still, if your storage is almost full in Microsoft 365, probably that should be the first solution that you should consider to resolve that challenge. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video.